Hey yo, what it do, what it do? It's your boy Q, and we already did our pickems for VCT Pacific for the playoffs, and Secret fans tried telling me that I jinxed them, and then...
Uncle Jesse Mash, can you bring the team? No, you will be denied, and it will indeed be Cruz who will return to the international stage at Champions Seoul 2024.
Hey yo, my bad. But it's time we take a peek into the EMEA region here before things get kicked off underway here on Monday. Same dealio, man. 6 teams in the playoffs, 4 of which start off in the elimination game. So let's go ahead and get down and do what it do. Let's go ahead and actually get things started off as far as what I would say the easier the two predictions are in that lower half. Fnatic versus Karmine Corp, which hurts for me to say, man. If y'all been through here on the channel before, y'all know I'm a big fan of the blue wall, but I mean, when you're realistic about it, you got the worst draw of the knockout rounds when you're looking at Karmine Corp here, man. You probably would have preferred Team Vitality or even NAVI. Fnatic's been on this run here in stage number 2, which really feels reminiscent of the Fnatic of old. Last time these two faced off, less than a month ago, Karmine Corp only took 11 rounds in total. So go ahead and give me Fnatic in this lower half of the bracket here, which does mean that for Karmine Corp, just like in Rocket League, they're going to be standing by and watching the rest of things unfold and praying that their chances for champions doesn't come to somebody else's hands here. But the upper half of the knockout round, that's the one that actually is going to be kicking off the EMEA playoffs. It's at noon Eastern time as far as for Monday. I'm going to try and watch some of it if I can, man. Should be a really good game. Vitality versus NAVI, which is interesting because it's kind of like a tale of two teams, right? Like NAVI had a pretty solid stage 1, although they did get knocked out at this very same stage here, as far as stage number 1 playoffs. But they just haven't looked the same since we've gotten into stage number 2. Meanwhile, Vitality, they were at that 500 stage they were at that 500 point in stage number 1, right? And now it's been kind of a different story. They're 6-4. I mean, if this was stage number 1, I'd have my money on NAVI all day long, right? I mean, last time that we did see them play was in stage number 1. They actually 2-0'd them. The big thing for me, I feel like this is going to come down to the draw on the maps, right? Because last time these two teams played, it was their performance on Lotus that like really did not look good for Team Vitality, and then they started banning Lotus basically the rest of stage number 1. Here as of lately, they have started leaving it like hanging as a decider map, and they've been alright at it, not the greatest. I feel like for Team Vitality, they gotta ban Lotus out of there because it is one of Navi's like favorite 2 maps. I am going to trust the process, though. I think this is going to be a banger. I think this goes 3. But go ahead and give me Team Vitality in a 3-game banger, which unfortunately, really for both of these teams, the winner of that game, you're playing against Team Heretics. It's a pretty easy decision. You know what I mean? I don't really see either of those teams being able to take down Team Heretics, which means with Karmine Corp going out here, both of these teams would need, I think it's 2 wins in order to take Karmine Corp's spot for Seoul. So basically, they're just about locked in at that point when you look at as far as for Karmine Corp. So give me Team Heretics a 2-0 over Team Vitality. I would say inevitably secures Karmine Corp their spot for Seoul, but of course Team Vitality still in that lower bracket, but they need to win 2. I think one might give them the tie. I would have to check up on that. Maybe if someone knows, let me know down in chat. But yeah, Team Heretics, I think that's a 2-0 more than likely, man. And look, I know that like Vitality technically won the last time these two squared off in stage 1. But I said what I said. Argue with your mom. You know what I mean? Let me know if you think I'm wrong, though, down in those comments below for sure. As far as in the lower half of that upper bracket semifinal, we've got Fnatic, we've got FUT. FUT did win the last time these two teams squared off. I think Fnatic's just looked different, though. I mean, last time these two squared off, it was in stage 1, right? FUT has looked, I mean, they've been like a staple of consistency, but Fnatic really have reminded me a lot of the Fnatic of old, or at least the Fnatic from last year, right? So go ahead and give me Fnatic over FUT Esports here. I know like FUT's technically the favorite, so it would be an upset. I think it's probably also a 3-map banger, but go ahead and give me Fnatic there, which is really cool because then that's going to give us Team Heretics versus Fnatic, which is not only a rematch of the upper bracket final from stage 1 playoffs, but also a rematch from the grand finals from the stage 1 playoffs. I mean, Team Heretics winning the first last time around, but it was Fnatic who were able to win the second one there. So I think really this is our best matchup that we can have when it comes to the top 2 teams in the region. I know people are going to say that you should probably like throw FUT in there, whether it's between Heretics or Fnatic. I wouldn't disagree with that. I just feel like the way that these 2 teams line up against one another, it feels like this should be the final. Heretics Fnatic always delivers us, I mean, a banger of a series. Last time that we saw these 2 play against one another was in the grand finals, like I said, last stage in the playoffs, and Fnatic pulled off the reverse sweep. I don't think we see a reverse sweep here, but I do think we see a back and forth, which does go in the favor of Fnatic, sending Heretics down into that lower bracket final. Also secures Fnatic into that top 2, which is a nice spot for them. Some ways that they have not really been, at least as far as the course of this year, after being very, very dominant last season. So I do think Fnatic does get into that grand final there. As far as who's going to play against them in that grand final, we've got Team Vitality versus FUT Esports. It's a run back of the matchup that we saw. It was like middle of stage 1. I think it was like week 3 or something like that, where Team Vitality did come out on top. You know, stage 1 where Vitality did beat Heretics and FUT Esports in back-to-back weeks and still failed to make playoffs. Kind of talk about the ups and downs that they saw in stage number 1. Stage 2, though, Vitality has looked a lot different. And I'm realizing while recording, no, I did mention earlier, did I say they were still alive? They are still alive. They need to win 2, I think, at this point, right? One would at least force them a tiebreaker, I do believe, with Karmine Corp. But FUT Esports, they've been a staple of consistency. I do think FUT Esports takes this, which would mean that Karmine Corp secure that last spot. And our top 3 here are obviously the 3 that go in there. Do let me know if I'm wrong on that, chat. I mean, if Vitality is only 1 series away from like locking it in, maybe things are different because they feel a little bit different. But I feel like FUT Esports, they've just been too good. I don't think that Team Vitality is able to take them down. FUT Esports versus Heretics, like I said earlier, another great matchup. Probably like the, 2 of the top 3 teams. I do still like the Heretics Fnatic matchup more. But Heretics, they've had FUT's number. Every time they've matched up against one another, maybe FUT Esports takes a map, but that's it. I'm taking Heretics to go back up into the grand finals. And in the grand finals, man, like I said earlier when we were talking about the upper bracket final, every time these 2 teams face off against one another, it's a fireworks show. And I think we're going to get that in the grand final for the EMEA for stage number 2. I think it's the same narrative even as well, right? Where when you look back to stage 1 playoffs, it was Team Heretics who had won that upper bracket final. They were waiting in the grand final. It was Fnatic who had fought their way to the lower bracket, and then they pulled off the reverse sweep. I don't think a reverse sweep is happening here this time. I do think it's a back and forth, just like we saw in that upper bracket final. But I do think it's a similar story where we do see Team Heretics are able to pull this thing off, defending their top spot in the region. And essentially, if you think about it, giving EMEA 3 very solid teams to be like excited about for Seoul, along with 1 wild card, right? So what? That'd give us Team Heretics, Fnatic, FUT Esports, and Karmine Corp representing EMEA at Champions in 2024, right? And you could argue that at least 3 of those teams, if not for sure argue 2 of those teams, is looking in pretty good shape that they could realistically be seen as hoisting the trophy at the end of everything over in Seoul. But I'm kind of curious what you guys think. Who do you think is going to be hoisting the trophy when we just talk about the EMEA playoffs? What 4 teams are going to be qualifying for their spots in Seoul? Remember, every like, comment, share, those things, I mean, they really mean a lot for me right now, especially as a small creator chasing down that first 1,000 subscribers. We talk more than VCT EMEA over here. We talk, well, a little bit of every region when it comes to VCT, but we talk RLCS, ALGS with videos kind of like these. And then we actually just talk about the esports industry as a whole with the YoBoyCue podcast. So if you enjoy the vibes, if it's your first time through, make sure you're giving that subscribe button a tap down there. Until we catch y'all back over here for the next one, man, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all? It's your boy Q, signing out.